emergency rule in the Northeast geopolitical zone. Central Bank of Nigeria moves to clear gas supply debt to boost power supply, signs memorandum of understanding with relevant stakeholders. Internally displaced persons in Adamawa State request for adequate security to enable them go home. Welcome to NTA Network News. My name is Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. The Nigerian Senate has confirmed the nomination of Justice Mahmood Mohammed by President Goodluck Jonathan for appointment as the new Chief Justice of Nigeria. The senators screened the nominee at Tuesday's plenary in accordance with the provisions of Section 230 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. National Assembly correspondent Adamu Sambo reports on President Jonathan's request for the extension of the emergency rule in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states was deferred.
At the Committee of the Whole, Justice Mahmood Mohammed, who had been an active member of the legal profession in Nigeria since 1971, took questions from senators on legal and judicial matters as well as topical issues. Justice Mohammed, who decried poor handling of some corruption cases and conflicting judgments on orders by courts, said with honesty and integrity on the part of legal practitioners and the desired will to prosecute, judiciary will remain the last resort of Nigerians.
We ourselves are not helping matters. If I say we, I mean we legal practitioners. The problem is with us. If we know that we don't have a good case, we will not take our clients the truth.
In a unanimous resolution, the Senate approved President Jonathan's request to appoint Justice Mahmood Mohammed as the new Chief Justice of Nigeria.
We hope that with his wealth of experience, he will bring a lot of reformation in the judiciary.
Meanwhile, in his letter read on the floor by Senate President David Mark, President Jonathan is seeking the approval of the Senate for the extension of the emergency rule in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states by another 6 months.
It is important to state that despite concerted efforts by this administration to stem the tide of terrorism and insurgency in the affected states, the security challenges that necessitated the proclamation are yet to abate.
The lawmakers thereafter went into a closed session to deliberate the matter, and when the plenary session resumed after over 2 hours, indications are that decisions could not be reached.
We had a very extensive debate on it, and we will continue with the debate.
God's willing, our decision will be made known to all Nigerians.
Some senators from the affected states, however, expressed reservation about the planned extension of the emergency rule in their areas.
My people are clearly against the extension because it restricts the civilian movement and allows the insurgents to move freely.
My entire constituency is gone now. I think we should look for another alternative.
What we need is massive and quick attack of the situation at hand.
2 bills were read for the first time, including the one by Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume from Borno State, seeking the amendment of the Electoral Act to allow internally displaced persons to vote wherever they are.
If we cannot go to the polling unit should be brought to where we are displaced.
The Senate resumes plenary on Wednesday. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Still on the legislature, the House of Representatives is to reconvene on Thursday, the 20th of November 2014. Speaker Amin Waziri Tambol, who announced this in a statement, explained that the resumption is in the response to communication from President Goodluck Jonathan requesting the House to extend the state of emergency in Adamawa, Yobe, and Borno states. Speaker Tambol directs all members to attend the special session to consider the President's request before the expiration of the current state of emergency in the Northeast geopolitical zone. An angry mob in Gombe set ablaze a suspected suicide bomber after a foiled attempt by the suspect to bomb the Gombe Line transport terminals Tuesday afternoon. Gombe State Commissioner of Police Abdullahi Umma, who confirmed the incident, said the police anti-bomb squad has recovered some explosive devices from the scene of the incident. He advised members of the public not to take laws into their hands. The Nigerian Army Corps of Military Police is training its personnel to imbibe global best practices in the treatment of detainees. In this regard, a 4-day detainee operations workshop is jointly organized by the Nigerian Army Corps of Military Police and the Defense Institute of International Legal Studies, Newport, United States of America. Correspondent Mohammed Abdul Qadri reports.
Relevant international human rights agreements and the 1949 Geneva Convention Article 3, of which Nigeria is a signatory, provide for the protection of the rights of detainees with a benchmark that they must be present during trial and given all rights and means of defense.
Someone in detention prior to trial. In this context of Boko Haram, it would be up to the Nigerian government to decide whether to apply it.
The workshop provides an overview of Nigerian detention operations, legal authorities, and planning for detention operations with a view to giving it human face as stipulated in law.
The type of operation we are conducting nowadays, we need to tap from other sources, those who have experienced this type of situation before.
To tap into what they do in operations, including counter-insurgency, counter-terrorism operations.
Arrests and detentions are fallout of internal conflicts. Only on grounds and procedures established in law can a person be detained or arrested. No arbitrary arrest and detention. In Abuja, Mohammed Abdul Qadri, NTA News.
Still on security matters, advocates of human security say the individual should be the focus of security in any nation, unlike traditional concepts of security which focus on defending borders from external threats. A national retreat to examine these issues was held in Abuja for security agencies towards evolving a mechanism to holistically deal with security matters. Tayo Odugbeson reports.
Historically, human security has always been threatened by conflicts arising from territorial claims and internal conflicts, as well as political tensions that usually lead to active rebellion. The theme of this retreat, mainstreaming human security in Nigeria, was inspired by President Goodluck Jonathan's commitment to African heads of state and governments earlier in the year.
It's the desire to ensure that Nigeria and its neighbors and African countries have developed an agenda for human security.
The retreat will examine diverse issues and various components of human security and harmonize them into an agenda with a view to giving support to President Jonathan's commitment to national security.
I believe that the government approach to dealing with the challenge should be all-encompassing. It should involve providing the infrastructure for the well-being of the people.
At the end of this retreat, it is expected that Nigeria shall be on its way to embracing a human security roadmap that would help put all issues relating to human security in clear and proper perspective. Taiwo Odugbeson, NTA News.
Internally displaced persons in Yola, Adamawa State have appealed to the federal government to intensify security measures towards containing insurgents to facilitate their return back to their homes. They stated this when the Director General National Emergency Management Agency visited them in Yola. Mohammed Saidu has the story.
Currently, there are about 3 different camps housing the IDPs within the state capital, while there are some satellite camps in other local governments. During the visit of the Director General Nema Mohammed Sani Sada, the IDPs told him their major challenge now is to go back to their roots because there is no place like home. The IDPs, who commended the federal and state governments as well as spirited individuals and corporate bodies for assisting them with basic amenities of life, said the amenities are not getting to them easily because up till now, most of them sleep on bare floor. The IDPs told the DG that some of them are diabetic but are not getting the required food. Responding, the Director General assured them that all their observations and complaints will be taken care of.
With the IDPs, we have interacted with the stakeholders that are managing the IDPs. We have seen areas where there are challenges, and we will go back, inshallah, and address those challenges.
In his remark, the Secretary to the State Government, Ibrahim Waliye, said the state government will continue to protect and preserve the interests of the IDPs. The delegation also visited Malkoi Junior Secondary School, where government is proposing to relocate some of the IDPs. In Yola, Mohammed Saidu, NTA News.
Relief materials worth millions of naira have been donated to internally displaced persons across Benue State. The donations is at the instance of the chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu, the governor of Niger State. Correspondent Comfort Amadou reports that the donations were received at the Benue State Government House.
Wife of the Niger State Governor, Hajja Jume Babangida Aliyu, presented the items to Governor Gabriel Suswan for onward distribution to the affected people. Receiving the items, Governor Gabriel Suswan thanked them for the support towards alleviating the suffering of the people and assured them of the support of the Northern Forum to actualize their goal to assist victims across Benue, Kano, Yobe, Borno, and Adamawa states.
When you watch television and read stories as to what is happening in areas like Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe, there's a need for this exercise.
Speaking on the plight of the affected victims across the northern region, the wife of the Benue State Governor and chairperson Northern Governors Wives Forum, Mrs. Doshima Suswan, said the donation is in fulfillment of the forum's promise to use whatever that was realized from the launch of the almanac in 2012 to assist the needy. The items comprise 300 bags of sugar, 1,000 bags of pasta noodles, 300 bags of salt, 1,115 cartons of macaroni, and 1,500 cartons of spaghetti, among others. In Makudi, Comfort Amadou, NTA News.
Central Bank of Nigeria has committed 36.9 million naira fund for electricity market stabilization facility. At the signing of a memorandum of understanding to this effect with the Ministries of Power and Petroleum Resources in Abuja, the CBN governor explained that the fund will offset all the debt the Power Holding Company of Nigeria owes to gas supplying companies in Nigeria. Shikela Ikpinaye has the report.
The gesture is geared towards ensuring better generation and distribution of power in the country in a bid to improve power supply to Nigerians. Tagged CBN Power Sector Intervention Fund, the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria offers to clear up all the outstanding legacy debt of about 36.9 billion naira owed to gas supplying companies over the last few years. Governor of the CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, said that the signing of the MOU signaled the collaboration efforts among the Ministries of Petroleum Resources, Power and Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) to intervene in the Nigerian electricity supply industry with a view to resolving its liquidity challenges.
The Central Bank of Nigeria sees this facility as a way to kickstart the electricity market in a way that ensures that the sector can deliver tangible improvement in power supply for all Nigerians.
The Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Dezeni Alison Madueke, also disclosed that the intervention was complemented by a reciprocal commitment by the gas suppliers for medium-term supply into the power sector. On the short-term plans on gas supply, the minister said that Otorogu Ugeli gas plant is now producing at its highest level.
So today's commitment will bring to the grid an additional 2.5 billion cubic feet per day of gas over the period from now till 2017. Over 80% of this gas will go to the power sector.
The stakeholders believe this intervention has opened a new page in the Nigerian domestic gas market to ensure that gas sold to the power sector are henceforth paid for, thereby creating a viable and sustainable gas sector. In Abuja, Shikeola Ikpenaye, NTA News.
The federal government has earmarked 16 billion naira for the effective implementation of the Great Green Wall project in Nigeria. Minister of Environment Laurentia Malam announced this at a media briefing. She explained that the project is one of the key programs of the Environment Transformation Agenda. Environment correspondent Aisha Bello Mustafa reports.
The Great Green Wall Project is a desert impact mitigation program designed to check desert encroachment in the Sahel region of Africa. Here in Nigeria, the program spans over 11 states and entails the provision of shelter belts 15 kilometers wide and 1,500 kilometers long from Kebbi to Borno.
The community will own large-scale gardens, orchards, and plantations. The Great Green Wall project will provide shelter cover for affected communities and create an ozone-friendly environment in the region. Creation of modern grazing areas in the affected states will in turn reduce the annual migration of cattle rearers, will consequently reduce the socio-economic frictions between cattle rearers and other farmers.
The project, which is expected to be launched next week in Kebbi by President Jonathan, will provide 5,000 jobs in each of the affected states. The fieldwork of the Great Green Wall commenced last year, and the Minister of Environment has embarked on a series of visits to sensitize the communities on the importance and benefits of the project. Aisha Bello Mustafa, NTA News.
Still to come, state executive committees of the People's Democratic Party in Ebonyi and Adamawa dissolved. And the All Progressives Congress, APC, inaugurates a national convention committee. This and more when we return. Don't go away.
Jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
Change is never easy. It was not easy for Dr. Martin Luther King when Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew transformed Singapore from third world to first world. It was not easy. They stoned him. It was not easy for Nelson Mandela.
I, Barack Hussein Obama.
It was not easy for Barack Obama. Nothing worthwhile ever is. Dr. Martin Luther King did it. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew did it. Nelson Mandela did it. Barack Obama did it. Goodluck Jonathan is doing it. He is transforming Nigeria. Mr. President, keep doing it. We who are with you are so many more than those who are against you. A message from protectors of Nigerian posterity.
Look, Aboki, Oga, that is my final price for your cows. Take it or leave it.
Oga, that price is very, very low, wallahi. 50,000 for the cow. I no agree, Oga.
No.
Shh. Everything is set. Oga, with the nationwide outbreak of Zopus and the mouth diseases, you do not have a choice but to buy from us. Oga, you take it or you leave it. Don't look so sad, Oga. We will throw in a goat as a bonus.
Okay, I'll take it. We have a deal.
That's an easy route.
I know. Always stay connected to the vast world of online information. Stay always on with Airtel Internet. Airtel Internet, the smartest network for your smartphone.
Dial *401# to activate.
Johnny S5.5, the slimmest in the world. Johnny, to be needed, to be loved. Johnny M2, 28 days standby time. Johnny, to be needed, to be loved.
Want your bathroom to dazzle? Give your toilet the Hypo treatment to brighten and also kill germs so your bathroom stays disinfected and squeaky clean.
Sheyi Makinde, stimulating attitudinal changes and initiating radical thinking. Sheyi Makinde, the man of his words, an achiever per excellence, imbibing public confidence and enlist mass participation in governance. Sheyi Makinde, a philanthropist, driving a collective vision of a people of Oyo State in a unique way. Sheyi Makinde, a man of the people and a silent achiever. Sheyi Makinde can be trusted to do more.
We will change the future of our state for the better.
Sheyi Makinde, the man for change.
No one knows cool like Higher Thermocool. And with Higher Thermocool air conditioners, you can stay cool however hot you become. Higher Thermocool.
Know that you are exposed to up to 100 illness-causing germs every day?
I encourage my kids to learn new things, and if they get hurt, I rely on my Dettol to fight germs. It's like my own first aid kit.
My family needs protection from germs. My Dettol disinfects surfaces and clothes, keeping them clean and safe from germs.
Now you can save even more with Ariel's brilliant stain removal just by buying the bigger, better 90-gram economy sachet. You get more with Ariel 90 grams by saving a whooping 20. Start saving now. Ariel, Nigeria's best removal in one wash.
Transformation ambassadors of Nigeria.
My good people of Nigeria, does anybody use mirror to look at what they have at hand? No! Good luck at the ingredients of life. Automobile industries, full encouragement. Second Niger bridge from mirage to reality. Good luck! Railways, seaports and airports are come back to modern life. Good luck! Or a Benin highway and other federal highways from dead trap to modern spectacle. Good luck! There you are. Petrol and nyaf with control price and so many other etc. Good luck I do. Good luck are going to do. And good luck will be yours. Are you see what I'm saying? Only good luck affects the security challenges of Nigeria with honesty and commitment. Fighting terrorism to a halt.
Good luck continue for Nigeria.
This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. Down for one vision, Nigeria.
Still on NTA Network News, the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, held an emergency meeting Tuesday in Abuja where it dissolved the party's state executive committees of Adamawa and Ebonyi states due to what the PDP described as grave and inimical conduct, as well as acts capable of disorganizing and undermining good conduct of the PDP in the states. A statement signed by the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Chief Wole Sametu, says the NWC directed all members of the party in the affected states to disregard the publications of the results of the World Congresses made by the two executives as not authorized and coming from the proper custody. Still on the PDP, the screening of aspirants vying for the various positions in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has commenced. PDP National Secretary Professor Wale Oladipo reassures aspirants that the party will abide by the Constitution, the rule of law, and be transparent in the conduct of its primaries. Polka correspondent Femi Johnson has the report.
With the House of Assembly primaries almost concluded, and ahead of the National Assembly primaries of the People's Democratic Party, the National Secretary, Professor Wale Oladipo, says the leadership of Alhaji Ahmadu Adamu Muazu will be fair to all aspirants and conduct screening that will be satisfactory to all members. He, however, advised the aspirants to play by the rules.
I will just ask them to go back, read the constitution of the party, read the electoral guideline that we issued, and follow due process.
Meanwhile, more aspirants are still declaring their interest in governorship seats. Senator Helen Eswene is seeking the PDP governorship ticket of Akwa Ibom State.
I'm a bridge builder, I'm detribalized, and I see and judge and take people at their face value, not because of where they come from. I believe that Akwa Ibom needs me at this time.
The PDP governorship primaries will hold on the 8th of next month in Abuja. Femi Johnson, NTA News.
The national leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has been urged to review the November 1st World Delegate Congress held in Imo State. 11 governorship aspirants of the PDP from Imo State stated this at a media briefing in Abuja. Correspondent Gabriel Odu reports.
The 11 governorship aspirants, drawing their position from the Constitution of the PDP, Chapter 1, Section 73C, said the World Congress did not take place. Therefore, the national leadership of the People's Democratic Party should conduct a fresh one.
We are here asking the party, for the sake of the party, for the sake of democracy in Nigeria, to cancel that Congress, World Congress.
Responding to the position of the Imo PDP governorship aspirant, the PDP National Secretary, Professor Wale Oladipo, has this to say.
All cases of genuine grievances will be addressed by the National Working Committee. I am assuring you of this.
The World Delegate Congress is a startup process to the governorship primaries. In Abuja, Gabriel Odu, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress, APC, has set up a 24-member committee to organize its national convention scheduled to hold on the 10th of December 2014. Correspondent Abdullahi Garba Benenkudu reports that the APC's national chairman, Chief John Oyegun, has inaugurated the committee.
The oncoming national convention of the APC is important as it is the time party's delegates will elect candidates to contest the 2015 presidential election. That is why APC national chairman charged members to take their assignment with all seriousness it deserves and be fair to all aspirants as the whole Nigeria is watching.
It is the way you conduct this process and the way you conduct the exercise itself that will finally catapult us from being an opposition party into the incoming government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But you have absolute freedom.
Former governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, is the chairman of the committee, which has representatives of all the 5 presidential aspirants seeking the APC ticket.
And I have no doubt that we should deliver on this assignment on time, on cost, on integrity, on commitment, and on transparency.
Only recently, APC held an extraordinary convention to amend some parts of its constitution. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Benenkudu, NTA News.
Ekiti State has sworn in 3 commissioners and 12 special advisors in Ekiti State. He also inaugurated the caretaker committee chairman for the 16 local government areas. Samuel Johnson reports that the Ekiti State House of Assembly is rather divided over the manner of approval upon which the governor took the actions.
The 10 members of the State House of Assembly, according to the minority leader, Mr. Ajibola Samuel, said the session was to confirm the commissioner nominees and special advisors as well as the list of caretaker chairmen for the 16 local government areas in the state. He insisted that the law allows members to appoint pro tem speaker to attend to urgent public matters, stressing that the governor needed the approval to undertake certain projects in the state.
The governor has sent a letter to the House that has been read in our last sitting of 11th November, and the continuation of the program is what we have just done.
Governor Ayodele Fayose, who later inaugurated the caretaker chairman, commissioners, and special advisors, explained that his action was consequent upon the approval of the State House of Assembly.
I am going to put everything in place for the election into local government affairs.
Majority Leader of the State Assembly, Mr. Churchill Adedipe, decried the action of the lawmakers and said it is illegal. In Ado-Ekiti, Samuel Johnson, NTA News.
To other stories now, President Goodluck Jonathan says there is no other platform to advance the national economy other than the information and communication technology, ICT. He stated this in a message to the opening of the 2014 E-Nigeria Conference holding in Abuja. Ruben Okala has the report.
Nigeria still ranks 8th globally in internet usage with about 15 million people using various devices. The internet penetration of just 32.9% is attributed to low broadband. The E-Nigeria Conference is used as a platform for ICT awareness creation and setting goals for best practices to encourage the positioning of the country in the global information society.
It's recorded the highest levels of foreign direct investment in our history, and this is a testament not only to the size of our domestic market, but to a liberalized and market-driven economy.
A US-based Nigerian and automotive designer, Jelani Aliu, spoke extensively on the theme of the conference, creating market opportunities for indigenous ICT products and services.
Our greatest enabler is intelligent technology. Technology that is in tune with Africa.
Exhibition area. You will see that we have a good number of these young startups that we have encouraged. We actually supported them to come here.
This is motivational in the sense that in the ICT sector, there's a lot of motivation being put in place.
We are sure that ICT is the future for Nigeria.
Between 2012 and now, the ICT sector is said to have created about 12 million jobs, with the sector presently contributing 10.5% to the nation's gross domestic product, GDP. In Abuja, Ruben Okala, NTA News.
Having a violent-free election in Nigeria is a recipe for not only democratic stability, but important for rapid economic development of the nation. Former Senate President Ken Nnamani and Professor Tijani Bande, Director General of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, stated this while speaking on core value of true democratic practice ahead of the 2015 elections in Nigeria. They were speaking on NTA Network Current Affairs program, Moment of Thoughts, on the need for transparent election in Nigeria and mitigating current security challenges in the country.
Desperate people do desperate things. The way we recruit our leadership probably will lead to acts of desperation.
Yes.
Politics, the way I look at it, is supposed to be service. But if some people see politics as career, as the means of survival on earth, they are likely to do things that will show acts of desperation.
Structural issues concerning poverty, illiteracy, ignorance. And indeed, there was a paper that tried to show, with some justification, if you dealt with literacy rates, now hovering around maybe nationally 40, 45.
Stay tuned for Moment of Thoughts immediately after the network news at 10 p.m. tonight. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has asked the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos to separate the trial of former governor of Enugu State, Dr. Chimaroke Nnamani, from other accused persons for diligent prosecution. Vera Chinuba reports that Justice Mohammed has fixed the ruling on the request for the 16th of December this year.
The request by the EFCC for separation of trial of the former governor of Enugu State, Dr. Chimaroke Nnamani, and his former aide, Sunday Anyogo, from the trial of 6 companies charged along with them became necessary following frequent applications for leave by Dr. Nnamani to travel abroad for medical treatment. EFCC counsel Kevin Ozozie told the court that it's scandalous that a criminal case, which should be concluded speedily in accordance with the law, has not proceeded to trial more than 7 years after. He argued that there is need for speedy conclusion to be arrived at in respect of assets and liabilities of the companies, which are corporate entities and may become obsolete. Defense counsel Ricky Tafa SAN, in his response, argued that granting the application will amount to disrupting the fair trial of former governor of Enugu State, whom he said has always made available,
which includes census and surveys. In another development, an economist, Ken Okonha, says when government deficit reaches a critical level, economic growth may be unsustainable. He spoke to Business News on the measures by the government to address the dwindling oil fortunes.
Beyond the issue of tariff, which she mentioned, on importation, which is good for the economy, very healthy. One thing that this government would need to do is to, engage in some radical approach in terms of reducing the attractiveness of political office.
And next is graphic details of the day's trading on the floor of the Nigerian stock markets. And that's it on business. I am Chiazalam Ekiye. The news continues.
Stakeholders are in Abuja brainstorming on how to bring the Dishonored Checks Offences Act in conformity with the global standards in order to enhance economic development through business activities in Nigeria. Correspondent Ali Utuku reports that the Nigerian Law Reform Commission organized the workshop.
The workshop on the reform of the Dishonored Checks Act is organized to mark one of the critical stages in the process of reforming the Act by the Nigerian Law Reform Commission, eliciting views of stakeholders. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Osumbo, says having carried out research by the Commission following proposals to improve the Act, such as inclusion of provision on dishonored checks issued in payment for services rendered, and upward review of the penalties in the Act will be considered among others.
The bank will now be mandated to specify clearly the reason why a check was dishonored on pain of sanctions or punishment.
Statistics from the CBN in 2012, we showed that about 167,000 dot checks were presented in banks, in various banks. And that has an adverse effect on the economy.
The reform is also to enhance the CBN cashless policy by ensuring a reliable and short payment system through the use of checks. In Abuja, Ali Utukur, NTA News.
Petroleum tanker owners have met with other key players in the oil and gas sector to improve their transport operations in the sector. The tanker owners, under the auspices of the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, NATU, are hoping to find solutions to transport challenges, especially in the downstream sector. Leah Sampson was at the meeting and now reports.
They are hardly ever absent on major highways across the country. The trucks have become almost as critical and as important as the product that they haul. Today, nearly 98% of petroleum products in Nigeria are transported by tanker trucks to various parts of the country. And with this responsibility comes great risks. The spate of road accidents involving tanker drivers, the lives lost and the huge losses incurred arising from colossal loss of revenue are all issues on the table as the National Association of Road Transport Owners met with other interest groups in the oil and gas downstream sector.
The issue of Petroleum Equalization Fund Management Board. Secondly, the state of Nigeria roads. Sadly, the insecurity on the federal highways.
This meeting hopes to rise and speak in one voice after addressing prevalent issues that often cause discord amongst those in the downstream oil and gas sector. One of such issues raised was the occasional scarcity of oil products and why tanker truck drivers are always blamed for the development.
Ilorin Oloru to Jeba. It took tanker driver 48 hours to ply that road.
The significance of this is for the purpose of putting heads together, deliberate on issues that affect the industry.
The group NATO says it believes in the principle of dialogue and consultation in achieving such objectives and therefore urged the federal government to fast-track work on the Port Harcourt-Eleme Junction East-West Road. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
From road transport owners to traffic issues, stakeholders in road safety management have resolved to work in synergy for a hitch-free implementation of the speed limiting device in Nigeria. This is the outcome of a one-day sensitization program aimed at preventing speed limit violations and its resultant consequences. Aliyu Kabir reports.
Between January to September this year, overspeeding accounted for 40% of the total road crashes in the country, which resulted to the destruction of properties worth millions of naira. How to curtail this ugly trend, stakeholders say, is what formed the desire for the implementation of speed limiting device expected to commence on the 1st of June 2015 with commercial vehicle operators.
All commercial vehicles, minibuses, articulated tanker trailers, trucks, high-capacity buses, those are the luxury buses, must be fitted with speed governance, so certified. And so is the certification we want to enforce. We want to cut down the speed.
It will help to reduce fatalities on our road, and it will help to prevent unwarranted deaths on our road.
And I will appeal to all our members across the nation. They should comply with this directive.
As part of the strategy to sustain the efficiency of the policy, the co-marshal of the FRC, Boboye Oyeyemi, re-emphasized his readiness to partner with the Nigerian Customs Service and the Standard Organization of Nigeria to ensure that the importation of vehicles without the speed limiter will not be allowed into the country with effect from 2016. In Abuja, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Caleb Gochin in our Jos Network Center has the update on the bomb blast in Azare, Bauchi State. Over to you, Caleb.
Thank you, Mohammed. Welcome to Jos. Business activities are yet to pick up at the GSM Market, Azare town of Bauchi State after Sunday's bomb blast. Correspondent Bulak Afsa reports.
Azare GSM Market is a densely populated area. However, the place is now deserted with shops under lock and key as a result of Sunday's bomb blast. Officials of the GSM Sellers Association described the incidents as unfortunate as it affected many lives and businesses.
As we were doing our business, there was one woman. She was dropped by Okada man. So we are speaking to that woman. She's the one who did the phone.
Survivors of the blast receiving treatment at the Federal Medical Center Azare are responding to treatment. Medical Director of the center, Dr. Abdullahi Ibrahim, who spoke off camera, said those with minor injuries were treated and discharged. The bomb blast, which led to the death of 17 people, was said to be carried out by a female suicide bomber in Bauchi. Bulak Afsa, NTA News.
2 presidential security aides, Chief Personal Security Officer to the President, Commissioner of Police Moses Jitobo, and the Commanding Officer of the Mobile Police, Presidential Escort, CSP Milat and Tawai, have been conferred with awards for exceptional commitment to the safety of the President, his family, and the country. The awards were conferred by a non-governmental organization after a careful monitoring of their selfless, patriotic, and untiring efforts at providing effective security to Nigeria's President, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. CP Jitobo is awarded Best Police Operations Officer in Nigeria 2014, while CSP Ntawai's Mobile Police Squadron is awarded Best Police Mobile Force Squadron in Nigeria 2014. To other news now, education managers in Nigeria have applauded the efforts of the National Teachers Institute in the delivery of qualitative training to Nigerian teachers. This was at the Institute's 3rd convocation ceremony in Kaduna. Minister of Education Ibrahim Shekaru expressed federal government's commitment to strengthening the institution. The report.
The challenge of observing all Nigerians seeking tertiary education has so far been a daunting one for government-owned tertiary institutions in the country. The complementary role of institutions like the National Teachers Institute involved in open and distant learning in absorbing the number is receiving commendation. Minister of Education Ibrahim Shekarau advised the graduating student to apply the new technique acquired to help address the challenge of mass failure in WAEC and NECO examinations and other social vices.
It is based on this that the federal government of Nigeria is developing a new policy framework.
It is pertinent to salute the patriotic zeal and determination of the management and entire staff of the Institute.
It's a great indication that the Institute's Council and Management are working on a common agenda.
Emir of Zauzau, Dr. Shehu Idris, advised the Institute on the need to sustain its record of offering selfless service. Director General of the NTI, Dr. Aminu Ladan Sharihu, disclosed that the Institute's quality assurance was strengthened.
In the immediate future, we intend to embark on the establishment of model demonstration secondary school at the headquarters.
86,701 students graduated with certificates in postgraduate diploma in education, while over 56,000 students graduated with national certificates of education and advanced diploma in education.
Sports Update is next after this commercial break.
Issues surrounding voters registration, permanent voters card, and preparations for the 2015 general elections is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live. Tuesday Live, incisive, educative, and informative. Don't miss it.
It's a fortress.
a safe haven where every foe is vanquished, where passionate voices rise to inspire victory, a place in which they can proudly face the best. Finally, our champions have found a fortress worthy of our nation's football heritage. Join His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Chief Godswill Akpabio, CON, the government and the good people of Akwa Ibom State at the Akwa Ibom International Stadium, the nest of champions. As the champions of Africa, the Super Eagles of Nigeria face the Bafana Bafana of South Africa in a crunch tie to secure place at the African Cup of Nations 2015. Date, November 19, 2014. Time, 4 p.m. Come remind Africa why we are the champions of Africa.
Get your favorite Dettol 70-gram pack for 100 Naira and now available the Super Family Pack for 70 Naira only. Whichever Dettol soap you choose, you get maximum protection against germs every day.
No one knows cool like Higher Thermocool. And with Higher Thermocool air conditioners, you can stay cool however hot you become. Higher Thermocool.
The Dettol and Ministry of Health team is visiting schools to teach children how to protect themselves from diseases.
Do you know what germs are? They are tiny, harmful, living things that you pick up from dirty surfaces. These germs can make you ill and prevent you from doing all the things you like to do with friends. That's why you need to fight them by washing your hands regularly with Dettol soap.
Mom, today we learned how to fight germs with Dettol soap.
For a look at the international scene, Roger Kolaole has the global tidbits.
Labeled as having links with militants. Several people were injured in the attacks, suspected to be a reprisal for the police action. In a related development, 2 Palestinians armed with a meat cleaver and a gun killed 4 people in a Jerusalem synagogue before being shot dead by the police. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pledged to respond with a heavy hand. From Brussels comes a report that NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has denounced what he called a serious Russian military buildup both inside Ukraine and on the Russian side of the border, urging Moscow to pull back its troops, noting that such steps negates the ceasefire agreement reached early September. For the first time after months of battling Islamic State militants, Iraqi security forces gained access to the country's largest refinery, providing critical momentum for government forces mandated to restore stability in the country. For Global Tidbits, Ronke Kolawole, NTA News.
On in sports, National Sports Commission expresses support for the Super Eagles to beat Bafana Bafana on Wednesday in the ongoing 2015 Africa Cup of Nations final qualifier in Uyo. And Team Nigeria emerges victorious at the Commonwealth Taekwondo Championships in Scotland. Details with Fisayo Ogunfuyi on Sport Update.
The Director General of the National Sports Commission, Gbenga Elegbeleye, has commended the outstanding performance of Team Nigeria at the just concluded Commonwealth Taekwondo Championship in Scotland, where Nigeria finished 4th on the medals table with 4 gold medals, 2 silver medals and 4 bronze medals.
We must get more to be on top of our situation because we don't want any country to dominate us in whatever we are doing in terms of sporting competition.
Elegbeleye also assured Nigerians that the Super Eagles of Nigeria will not only beat the Bafana Bafana of South Africa in Uyo on Wednesday, but will also successfully defend the Africa Cup of Nations title in Equatorial Guinea come 2015.
Now that we are getting our acts together, we'll be South Africa and nationally we'll be there. I will go ahead and qualify.
The Nigeria-South Africa game will be broadcast live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority on Wednesday. 21 players are competing in the maiden edition of Senator Idris Umar Table Tennis Tournament designed to foster unity among staff of the Ministry of Transport and its parastatals at the Indoor Sports Hall of the Abuja National Stadium. Opening the week-long competition in Abuja on Monday, stakeholders said that such sporting outings will enhance productivity at the workplace.
This historic event, I believe, will promote peace and development in our workplace and community at large.
Meanwhile, sports stars across the globe are joining up with the United Nations to raise global awareness in the fight against Ebola. With Sports News Update, Fisaya Ogunfui, NTA News.
The funeral ceremony of late Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Chike Ofodile, SAN, has been held at his country home off Waterworks Road on Magbe, Onitsha. Franklin Onyekachi reports that the burial rites of late Chike Ofodile, who was also the traditional Prime Minister, Onowu Iyasele of Onitsha Kingdom, was performed according to the Onitsha traditional law and custom.
Part of the burial rites was the Egwater dance performed by the Ndichie, who are members of the Igwe's cabinet. Among those that paid homage to the departed legal luminary were members of the Abalanze Society, a group he belonged to before his demise. The Otuodo Society also paid their last respect. Notable Nigerians came to commiserate with the family of the late former Attorney General over the loss, among whom was the former head of state, General Muhammadu Buhari.
He was an honorable person with integrity and courage.
My father was the most loving, caring, humble human being I've ever had, a very affectionate man.
A kind-hearted man. A valedictory court session was earlier held at the Onitsha High Court in honor of late Ofodile. In Onitsha, Franklin Onyekachi, NTA News.
Just before we go, it is your right to challenge anybody suspected to be involved in unwholesome activities around you. Be security conscious. This message is from the Directorate of State Security Service. And that concludes Network News tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.